Greetings and welcome into the Sports Shuffle. We're back once again. We're going to do our mock draft. We're actually going to do two mock drafts on two separate episodes. This one is going to be a mock draft with myself, Joel, and Zach from our 16-team league. Going to mock draft 16 teams. And with this one, we're going to draft from the slots we drew yesterday. So I will be drafting from the number 4 position. I am Flying Ryan Gokers along with
Tempo Motor Mouth Joel Verlin,
who will be drafting from the number 8 position, right in the middle. And then Zach, who is actually dealing with some COVIDs, so he is free. He will be drafting from the number 12 position for this draft. And then, we will see how these teams stack up. And then I believe we're going to reset, do one with random draft position just to kind of get a feel where everything can fall. And, we will have some fun with that. And then we'll talk about some little itty-bitty breaking news a little bit later. No spoilers, but Week 13 is going to be fun. Anyways, let's start this draft.
Yeah, something might have happened today.
Yes, might have. So, starting the draft, and we are underway. Henry, number 1, McCaffrey, 2, Jonathan Taylor at number 3. So, I am on the clock. This is going to be an interesting one for me because I'm going to go Justin Jefferson, Kupp, Eckler, Harris, and then Joel on the clock. Lots of options, of course. First round, wide receiver, running back. Please note, in this league, there is no longer a set tight end position. It has been changed to a wide receiver tight end flex. So your Travis Kelce's, Mark Andrews, not quite as valuable in this format. So as Joel takes a look, top options on the board, Dalvin Cook, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, and he goes Jamar Chase. Mixon, Kelce follow. So Zach drafting at the 12th position, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Swift, CD Lamb, Nick Chubb, Tyreek Hill, the top 6 on the board with ADP. Of course, you don't have to follow the ADP. And he goes DeAndre Swift. I actually like it. He's taking the upside. I can't see. It's so small. Got to zoom out to see the whole board. All right. So Devontae Adams, 13, Diggs, 14, Lamb, and Hill to wrap out the round. Nick Chubb, Josh Allen, Alvin Kamara, and Aaron Jones to team 13 before Zach back on the clock. Mark Andrews, Deebo Samuel, Barkley, Javonte Williams, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, the next 8 per ADP. You don't have to follow that. Of course, in a 16-teamer, Joel, not so bad for you this year because you're going to be about 16, 17 picks between every selection. For Zach and I, we're kind of at the same end or same position. He goes Saquon Barkley. We have long waits, so you have to plan ahead. You got to go get your guy if you want them. So he goes and gets Barkley, Samuel, Andrews, and Javonte Williams follow. Joel on the clock selected Dalvin Cook first. Dalvin Cook sliding to 8, I think is a good thing. I think you'd be happy with that on draft day. Then he goes full homer, Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, Kyle Pitts, Keenan Allen. Again, no set tight end position. For me, Justin Jefferson round 1. I know the running backs are going to get thin. I'm going to take Zeke and hope for the best. Maybe I get lucky and another one will fall back to me. Connor Mahomes, Higgins to round out round 2. A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Justin Herbert on the way back. Now, this is where I have a tough decision because there's a couple receivers here I like, and there's not going to be a whole lot of running back options next time around. But I want Michael Pittman here. I think he's going to have a really good year. So I've started Justin Jefferson, Zeke Elliott, and Michael Pittman. Zach right now sitting with DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, and Joel on the clock, Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans so far. Does he go running back? He goes Darren Waller. Again, no tight end slot in this one, but Waller should have enough receiving role to make that wide receiver tight end slot very, very good still. There is already 5 tight ends off the board. I think after that, you're really grasping at straws. Not a whole lot of value there. So Joel getting the last real solid tight end. Zach going Jalen Waddle as wide receiver 1 for his roster. And now it's back to Zach. Swift, Barkley, Jalen Waddle. Some of the names off the board. Montgomery, Judy, Metcalf, Sutton, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Antonio Gibson, Josh Jacobs, DJ Moore, Etienne, and Breece Hall gone in the last few minutes. And Zach, you think here probably a receiver. He's already got the 2 running backs, and he does. He goes Mike Williams, Dobbins, Murray, Elijah Mitchell. And here is Joel. He's got a running back, a tight end, and a receiver. He can go pretty much anywhere he wants here. The question is, where does he go? And he goes one Amari Cooper. So it is back to me. Let's see who I want here. Who do I think is going to last? I think I'm going to play the odds here. I think a running back's going to come back around. I'm going to take someone who's got a surprisingly high amount of upside this year with Allen Robinson. And it looks like my strategy of waiting is going to pay off. I was thinking about taking A.J. Dillon in the last pick, so I will take him here very happily. And I start with Jefferson, Elliott, Pittman, Allen Robinson, and A.J. Dillon. I'm pretty comfortable here. I don't love the lack of running back depth so far, but okay, so far not too rough going receiver early. Again, this is a full PPR style of league. I do believe my pick at 4 would have been slightly different had it been a standard format or a half-point PPR. Joel back on the clock. Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, Darren Waller, Amari Cooper. And does he go running back here? Or do you keep piling up that wide receiver room? Because, again, you can play up to 4 receivers with the wide receiver, tight end flex, and the standard flex. We still have the standard running back, wide receiver, tight end flex. So he takes Juju. Kenneth Walker goes right before Zach. Miles Sanders goes right before Zach. 2-2 on Zach's roster. 2 running backs, 2 receivers. Waddle and Williams at the receiver. Swift and Barkley. And he takes the absent man, Tom Brady. Should be back for the regular season. We say should be because it's not a guarantee at this point. Bateman, Thielen, Goddard, Hunt, Gabe Davis, Cordero Patterson, Drake London, Zach Ertz. We are in the 6th round so far. Zach back on the clock goes Devontae Smith from the Eagles. Dak Prescott goes right before Joel. Tony Pollard right there and Elijah Moore. Back to Joel on the clock. 1 running back so far, 3 receivers, and a tight end on the roster. And he goes Devin Singletary. And I think I'm at a tier break for running backs. If I don't jump now and take Chase Edmonds, I think I'm going to be SOL later to get a number 3 running back. I think there's enough wide receivers coming up that I'll be all right. So as it comes back around, here is decision time for me because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 quarterbacks already off the board. Sleeper will double draft quarterbacks. Do I want to go and get the stack with Stafford here? Do I want to go take someone with a high amount of upside in Trey Lance? Or do I want to fill out that wide receiver room, running back room, either one, just a little bit more? I think I'm going to go for upside. That's not something I normally do. I'm going to take Trey Lance right here. Stafford goes just after Gordon and Ayuk as well. Alan Lazard going right before my pick. That's a name we're going to talk about more tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow, of course, being our poker night themed show. We'll go more into the details there, but it's going to be a good time. Joel is up, takes Derek Carr to pair with Darren Waller. So the stack on that receiving option there. Now, Zach back on the clock. As we get into round 7, it's already getting thin. The top options on the board: Freiermuth, Robert Woods, Mike Gesicki, Christian Kirk, Chase Claypool, Sky Moore, Michael Carter, Russell Gage. Top 8 per ADP. So you can see how quickly this gets thin. Joel, how are you feeling about your draft so far? 7 picks in.
Oh, definitely liking Cook. Definitely liking my homework pick for Evans. One that I'm definitely liking most of all.
First kicker off the board, round 8.
I'm liking Waller definitely for the tight end, and definitely have to see how Cooper's going to do with the new team.
Yeah, Amari Cooper, gonna have I think a little bit of a hard time getting passes early next season. We'll get more on that later. Zach did take Freiermuth with his last pick. First hit kicker off the board, Justin Tucker 8.4, right before Zach's pick. Zach back on the clock. 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a quarterback, and a tight end so far. Again, tight end not mandatory in this format, so at this point, I don't expect to personally take one unless we have someone really fall. Sleeper drafts, they tend to go fairly solidly off of ADP. You will get the couple of surprises here and there. It's also part of why you put 3 live people in here, because it'll mix some things up. So I don't personally expect to take a tight end at this point because let's see who's the best tight end if I can even get there. Albert Okwuegbunam, Hunter Henry, Tyler Higbee, Irv Smith Jr., Noah Fant, David Njoku. That's what's left on the tight end market. So not a lot there. We are just over halfway. Zach on the clock takes Tyler Boyd, goes deeper in there to get one. Back to Joel, who takes Michael Carter. Of course, the rookie Breece Hall seems to have taken some of the shine off it. I'm going to go and take rookie Dameon Pierce, but Michael Carter, I think, still going to have a pretty good role. So that could be a steal of a pick for Joel. I took Dameon Pierce, and it comes back to me, and I've got some interesting options here. Marquez Valdes-Scantling for the Chiefs has the potential to live up to the expectations you had in Green Bay, but he couldn't do it with Aaron Rodgers, so maybe he can't do it at all. Christian Watson, now with Aaron Rodgers, does have some hype, but I'm going to take the one rookie that has the most hype right now, and that is one George Pickens as wide receiver for my roster. To reset right now for me, Justin Jefferson, Michael Pittman, Allen Robinson, George Pickens at wide receiver, Zeke Elliott, A.J. Dillon, Chase Edmonds, and Dameon Pierce at running back, and Trey Lance at quarterback. Joel on the clock now. Dalvin Cook, he just made a selection. Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, Darren Waller, Amari Cooper, Juju Smith-Schuster, Devin Singletary, Derek Carr, Michael Carter, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. He does take Juju and MVS both on the Chiefs, but I think he's playing one of these guys has to be the number one. He's definitely going to have it, and he can pair that with an already good room of Evans and Cooper to have 3 solid wide receiver options. If not 4, maybe he supports a second one. And then Zach on the clock, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Waddle, Mike Williams, Tom Brady, Devontae Smith, Pat Freiermuth, Tyler Boyd, and a pick in the works right now. Kickers and defense starting to come off the board a little bit early. I'm going to say this for Sleeper. This is early. For the draft we're going to have next week, we have seen defenses go in round 5 before. I do remember that pick and going, what just happened? So I think we'll see some more what is going on picks when we do our actual draft. So, Joel, let's weigh in on Zach's team quickly as he is working his pick. How do you feel he's doing? Is there a strength? Is there a weakness? As he goes Rojo at 9-12.
Definitely DeAndre Swift was a good pick, I think. Early, Saquon Barkley, just not sure what's going to happen with the Giants and that fairly putrid offensive line, and definitely has been documented. But other than that, I know I like the DeAndre Swift pick best of all, most of all.
Yeah, Swift, I think he reached a little bit early, but I think the goal of a draft is to draft off of next year's draft board. You wanted to have Jonathan Taylor last year in the second round. I think he went late in the first and the 16-teamer. So I think there's a chance that he just took that breakout guy who's going to overachieve on the ADP. So DeAndre Swift, a very good pick, could finish running back 2, 3, 4. That Lions offensive line is very good.
I ultimately think Saquon Barkley is definitely one of your hold your nose picks this year.
If he's healthy, it's going to be a steal. He was the 13th running back, 12th or 13th running back off the board. I can't really argue with it because it's there. Now he is a little bit thin at that running back position with Swift and Barkley. Rojo might have a good role, but I think that wide receiver room is very strong. Jalen Waddle, of course, rookie reception record last year. Mike Williams was a top 12 wide receiver last year with Justin Herbert, and the trend is up. Devontae Smith, I think A.J. Brown might help him get open. That's going to open that passing game up a little bit. And Tyler Boyd, he's on an offense. He's not going to be a week-to-week stud, but he's going to have enough weeks where if you play him in the right spot, he can help you for, again, wide receiver 4. You're not in a 16-team league, a wide receiver 4. You're not expecting the production of Mike Evans at your wide receiver 4 by any means. So Zach down to 8 seconds to make a pick. He's looking long, deep, and takes Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup, some news that broke today, was running routes after that torn ACL. So he may be on track to actually play sooner rather than later. So that could be a very good pick. Michael Gallup, of course, no Amari Cooper in Dallas. So CeeDee Lamb, I think it's going to be good. Irv Smith for Joel, and I'm gonna do it. I got to do it. This has been one of my pet picks all off season since this man signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm gonna take the shot on Julio. If he comes back to what he was at all, it's going to be a very, very good thing. And now we are pretty much to the point where everything is just really tough. Running backs options here: Kenneth Gainwell, Mark Ingram, Khalil Herbert, Raheem Mostert, Jamal Williams, Brian Robinson, Darrell Williams, and
this is what's known as the dartboard phase of the draft.
Yes. So we're at that time where if you want to take a shot on a defense or kicker early, you really could. Wide receiver, tight end option: Jameson Williams, Noah Fant, Kenny Golladay, David Njoku, Jalen Tolbert. That's going to be the pick here. Just because he's got a lot of buzz, he's got the opportunity with Gallup possibly not being ready for the regular season. He's going to slot into that possibly wide receiver 3, maybe even wide receiver 2, depending on how Gallup recovers from that ACL injury. He could be interesting. 3 rookies in a row, though: Dotson, Tolbert, and Williams. As Kenny Golladay, I don't hate it. It's round 11. It's your wide receiver 5. Take a shot. Kenny Golladay at one time was a very, very good wide receiver. So we are back with Zach on the clock. We have 3 rounds plus a few picks left. I know kicker and defense has to be coming for the 3 of us fairly soon. Whether or not we do it next round or the round after, it really just depends on when we want to pull that trigger. And if there's anything out there you really want to go get, you want to do it now because we're starting to run out of time and run out of picks. Again, this is now a 5 bench spot league. We are up to 3 IR spots. So if Michael Gallup ends up on the PUP list, you can stash him. The whole point we went to 3 IR because, well, God forbid you have David Montgomery on your team and he goes down for 4 weeks and you have no roster spot and you have to cut somebody.
Yeah, we remember how much fun IR was with COVID restrictions last year.
Yes, again, no COVID restrictions this year. I don't think they're going to let him play if you test positive, but basically you test negative, you come back, and you are good to go. It could be a day, could be a week, could be 3 months. I don't know. I mean, that would really suck, but no restrictions, no protocols this year unless something really out of the ordinary happens. So Zach, I know what he's doing. He's looking deep for somebody because we're just at that point where you take your dart throw. You maybe get a backup quarterback because in this league, quarterbacks dry up quick. Mac Jones, Matt Ryan, Zach Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, Kenny Pickett. Not much out there. So there's some strategy here to when you want to take your chances on who you're going to take. Of course, I've got Trey Lance at quarterback, so maybe I want to grab a second one. I don't know yet. Mecole Hardman was the pick for Zach. I think that's got some upside. He did go down yesterday with a groin injury, but not considered serious. He's got upside. A lot of the Chiefs receivers outside of Travis Kelce, who is the sure thing, could be Sky Moore, could be Hardman, could be Juju, or MVS. One of them is going to have a good year. That's for sure. It's who and how big, I don't know yet. As Zach is on the clock, this could be his last non-kicker or defense positional pick because you're starting to run out of time where you just have to bite the bullet and live with the sadness of drafting. He goes Matt Ryan. That was the person I was thinking. So good snipe by Zach there, just to sure things up behind Trey Lance. Of course, the Patriots defense. That's an interesting play. Romeo Dubs off the board, so that I think is going to push me into the the quarterback market. And unfortunately, there's not much there, but I'm going to take a shot on one Ryan Tannehill. At least he's got some running ability on the that can help him out. And now we're down to kicker and defense. Let's go kicker first. Why? Because who cares? I'll take Nick Folk. Not a big deal. Joel does jump the gun on the Patriots defense. I think that's smart if you want to get it before Zach and myself and maybe the couple of the teams that haven't done it quite yet. Can't help you out. And he goes Steven Hauschka, who I don't think is on a roster right now, but kickers, if it's not, he can get it. He goes, Zach goes Pittsburgh defense. He's coming back for his kicker now here shortly. And, oh, nope, he didn't. Oh, he got another, I don't even know who that is. Who did he get? I don't even know who he got. Trevor Moore, free agent out of North Texas. Okay, that's a thing. I didn't know he was a player. So Zach picked somebody I've never heard of, and it's probably not a terrible idea. So as we get to the end of this this whole thing, I'm just gonna do the homer thing. Take the Dolphins here and hope for the best. So that is draft number 1. So before we go too far, let's start with Zach's team. DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Waddle, Mike Williams, Tom Brady, Devontae Smith, Pat Freiermuth, Tyler Boyd, Ronald Jones, Michael Gallup, Mecole Hardman, Matt Ryan, the Steelers defense, and a kicker that is a rookie that no one's ever heard of. For Joel, Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, Darren Waller, Amari Cooper, Juju Smith-Schuster, Devin Singletary, Derek Carr, Michael Carter, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Irv Smith, Kenny Golladay, Patriots defense, Steven Hauschka, and backup quarterback Baker Mayfield. Interesting there. And for myself, Justin Jefferson, Zeke Elliott, Michael Pittman, Allen Robinson, A.J. Dillon, Chase Edmonds, Trey Lance, Damian Pierce, George Pickens, Julio Jones, Jalen Tolbert, Ryan Tannehill, Will Lutz, and the Dolphins defense. So, Joel, let's start with Zach's team. Little thin at running back, don't you think?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just the two guys at the top.
Yeah, because if you get injury, that's going to end up going thin very quickly.
Yeah, you especially with the risk. Both were injured last year, but Barkley's had a couple seasons. He could come back very, very strong. So probably going to want to work the waiver wire.
Out of both of those, I think the more immediate concern for injury would definitely be Swift, especially with how he ended his season last year, and as opposed to Barkley's more like on the bounce back from an injury.
And while we're on the topic of thin at running back, we got to look at your roster. Cook, Singletary, and Carter, the only 3 running backs you drafted. How are you feeling about that? If that was your whole stable of running backs going into the season in this type of league?
Definitely have to be concerned about Cook and his possible injury history going
Tends
forward.
to miss a couple games.
But if you can just plug in a Carter or somebody for him when that happens, or just have somebody on standby that you can pick up, even though this is of course a 16 team, so you definitely have a bench that is definitely thin, if non-existent. Yeah. But still, it's a 16-teamer league. You tend to, if you have a running back get hurt early, your season is pretty much done.
Yeah. I think Dalvin Cook's going to be fine. He's going to probably miss a game or two. He tends to do that. Devin Singletary, if he keeps the job, is going to be a steal. And Michael Carter, I think he's got a lot of upside, but we will see how that goes. And then last but not least, it's my roster. Joel, I'm just interested to see if you see a hole, because I tried to build balance between the wide receivers and running backs early, so I had at least a decent option pretty much at all positions at all times. But I don't know, did I accomplish that?
Well, definitely Edmonds, it's very strong. Then, of course, Ezekiel Elliott, of course, you definitely have the whole question of him coming back, just like you have Saquon Barkley's question. You have Ezekiel Elliott's question, especially with the Cowboy and his ongoing concerns. So we'll just have to see if he can bounce back and the Cowboys can actually do something.
Yeah, Zeke was the RB7 last year with a nagging knee injury he played through. So if you buy the bounce back that maybe he was just not healthy, this could be an absolute steal. If you are in the camp of, well, Zeke might be on the downslope, this is a bad pick. So I agree that's going to be a big risk. I like the Dillon, I like the Chase Edmonds and the Dameon Pierce picks to round that out. I'm very happy with my wide receiver room. So if I went into the season with this would be fine. It might not be ideal, but I think this would be a good roster. I think it would at least be a playoff team. So that is the first 16-team draft we're going to do. And we will be re-racking here in a little bit, and then we'll wrap that show up by talking about, let's just say, stuff that happened today. So with that, we'll be back shortly with draft number